I want to invite everyone to think with me for a moment. I want you to think about the fact of all the amazing things that science has delivered. When we think about those things, we think about artificial intelligence, we think about genetics, we think about AI, of course. But there's been one thing that's been kind of sneaking under the radar that affects all of us, no matter who we are or whatever we are, and that's longevity. I want you to think about how longevity now is changing everything, how long we live. Let me give you something to think about for a moment. Do you know that less than 100 years ago, life expectancy was merely 46 or 47 years old? Think about that for a minute. A whole new definition, if you will, to midlife crisis overall. I want you to look at these kids. Aren't they cute? They're cute, right? You know why they're cute? They're not teenagers yet. That is why they are cute. But the fact of the matter is what we're thinking about today is that good research is suggesting that one half the children born in the so-called industrialized world, one half of them will live 100 years. Start thinking about what 100 years might mean. What does it mean for career? What does it mean for work? What does it mean for, well, my wife of nearly 40 years of marriage want to hear me tell the same jokes over and over again. But 100 years is changing everything. And if you think, well, that's kind of out there and that's the outer marker, well, we also know that science is delivering longevity science, gerotech, all age tech, all kinds of things to stretch time. In fact, what science is not doing with diagnostics and interventions and all kinds of genetic research is it's stretching time. It's not just giving us more years, it's stretching time overall. But science is leaving us with a paradox. Now that we have more years, what do we do with it? How do we cash in that longevity dividend that we already have of 30, 40 years? How do we spend it so that we're not just living longer? The new challenge, the new design challenge is how do we live better? And right now, the way we live, as we get older, we think of that period called older age or retirement. We think about it very simply. We have a very, shall we say, simple narrative. We think about health and wealth. In fact, even our theme around healthy longevity, it's about numbers. But the numbers are actually not about life. They're about other things. We're talking about what's your blood pressure? What's your cholesterol? What's in your 401k? What's your portfolio balance? Health and wealth are indeed important. But they're also woefully incomplete. So we added one other thing. We added leisure now to this idea of older age. Health, wealth, and leisure. And probably the only invention we've seen in the last number of decades to make older age a better age, pickleball. Is that the best we've got, really? Well, we're at MIT, so I feel like we have to do some math. We'll make it very simple math. I want you to think about the number 8,000. From 0 to 21 years old, that is birth to 21 years old, if it's easier for some of you, drinking age, is about, believe it or not, 8,000 days. And from 21 years old to what many might call midlife crisis, 46, 47 years old, is, guess what? 8,000 days. Now, I bet a few of you are quant jocks and you're getting the algorithm now. So from 46 to 47 to almost the Newtonian law of physics of retirement is 8,000 days. But what most people don't know is that the fastest growing part of the population is 85 plus. And 65 to 85 and change is 8,000 days. So let's do this. Let's take 0 to 21 and we will gently move that over to the side. What we are looking at now, with the time we've already been given, is 1/3 of our life effectively is what we consider to be old age. This is not a short trip to Disney. This is not a story written between cruises and crutches. No, this is actually a story that is 1/3 of adulthood. It is a story that requires being redesigned. We are missing a narrative for 1/3 of adult life. And so my awesome team at the MIT Age Lab, computer scientists, designers, political scientists, anthropology, social workers, because believe it or not, longevity is a multidisciplinary sport, especially if you want to live it well. We started to ask, how would you prepare for living longer? How would you prepare, more importantly, for living better? And so we did research around the world. We interviewed countless people, 25 years of experiments in the lab itself. And yes, health and wealth remain important issues. But in between, there are all those little things that, frankly, we find ourselves hacking longevity rather than living longevity. Start asking yourself, if I'm going to live longer, where do I live? Who do I connect with? How will I provide care? And by the way, how will I receive care? How do we make all those other life transitions? These are the things that, frankly, we are making up as we go along. Because believe it or not, living longer, living older is actually quite new. So we did a study on what those elements are, and there's 8 of them. I'm not going to go into each of them, but we also created an index to find out where is America on their readiness. Are you aware of what you need to think about in the future? Are you providing attention to it? And ultimately, are you taking any action? Yes, there are people saving for retirement. Yes, there are people getting their 10,000 steps a day. But unfortunately, out of a possible score of 100, America scores a 60. That's not a failing grade by definition, but we want this to be a horse race. It's an agenda-setting moment to say that we are woefully unprepared to cash in the longevity dividend we are already enjoying today, let alone making it to 100, 110, 120, whatever that might be. But here are 3 questions to get us there. So science may have gotten us to live longer. Questions, deceptively simple. In many ways, you might think even a little silly, will be the things that help us design, to have the conversations, to plan how to live longer and better. So I'm going to give you 3 of them. Here's the first one. How are you going to get an ice cream cone? Sounds really silly. What's that doing with longevity? No, here's the question. Do you know the little things that make you smile? What are the little joys in life? Not the trip to Disney with the grandkids, not the legacy you hope to leave behind, not even the will that you're signing. No, what are the little things that make you smile on a daily basis? Reading the news, having a cup of coffee, having an ice cream cone, and more importantly, have you planned to have access to it? How about this? Who are you going to have lunch with? Sounds silly too. Well, we also know from the research that being lonely, socially isolated, has the physical health impact of smoking 11 to 15 cigarettes per day. So suddenly I want you to start asking not just how much wealth do you have in your portfolio, who's in your social portfolio? Your friends, your social connections, the people who will be there when you need them, and the people that you need when you want to have fun. And that third question, who's going to change your light bulbs? That sounds really goofy as well. But have you ever thought about the fact, all those big and little things that you do every day that you take for granted, who's going to take out the trash, making a meal, going grocery shopping, and indeed, changing those light bulbs? You see, longer life is not simply about more time. Longer life is about designing a time that you can live longer and better, and putting the systems, the people, and the programs in place so that you can enjoy that longevity dividend that science has given us. You know, Vannevar Bush, if you're going to live longer, you might as well enjoy it. Vannevar Bush, the former dean of engineering at MIT, founder of Raytheon, and science advisor to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, said that science is the endless frontier. Ladies and gentlemen, I would, shall we say, have a corollary to that. Science is the endless frontier in the service of living longer and living better. And asking the questions, designing the systems, if you will, so that you can not just enjoy that time, but to make it the best time possible. And remember that the design may start with simple questions with those that you love, and it may also start with the little things that make you smile. Thank you.